Welcome to art class, Monday, September 28th, 2020. Let's start with a thinking question. What kind of art is your favorite kind of art to create? Use the sentence stem, my favorite kind of art to create is blank, to help you out. Miss Wilson is going to give you a 10 count. If you need more time than that, please pause your video at this time. Back to me. During virtual art class, I will watch all videos, focus on the lesson, think through Miss Wilson's questions, engage in all activity. Today's agenda. We're going to start with an opening thinking question, listening and learning with a read aloud, a teacher-led activity, which is doing Hispanic heritage art based on the artist Frida Kahlo, an independent practice where we will finish our art together or independently, and then we'll have some reminders. Objective. I can learn about artists from different cultures. Purpose. To reflect about what I think about myself in different ways. Objective number 2. I can use visual and context clues to learn art vocabulary. The purpose. To learn new words in English in a different classroom. We're finally in Unit 2, Current IB Unit 2, where we are in place and time. Our central idea, the world is three-dimensional. Our learner profile for this unit is open-minded, and this time our element of art is proportion. Vocabulary that you will hear today. Hispanic, a person whose family history is from a Spanish-speaking country. Heritage, the background from which one comes. Don't forget, my Spanish-speaking friends, the words in green are in Spanish to help you make that connection between your language that you learned at home and our academic language today. Listening and learning reminders. Listen to the book. Be on the lookout for your vocabulary words. When Miss Wilson asks a question, please pause the video to give yourself time to think.
And I'm excited to be able to share my story, Frida and her Animalitos, with you today. I am an author and I wrote the words in this book, and my words were illustrated by the amazing artist John Para, and this book was published by North South. I grew up loving the artwork of Frida Kahlo. As you can see from the picture, she was a painter, and I was introduced to her work and her paintings by my mother, Isabel Maria, who was an artist. And in fact, I am sitting in front of one of my mother's paintings. And like Frida Kahlo, my mother had some struggles with medical issues. And like Frida, she put her feelings and her passions into her paintings. So that's one reason why I wanted to write about Frida Kahlo. And what I thought when I was thinking, what would I share with children about this amazing woman's life? I was intrigued by her relationship to her animalitos, to her little pets. Now, most of the pets that I'm going to talk about that Frida had, she had as an adult, her famous ones that appeared in her paintings. But using my own creative license and my love of all things magical, I write about what she might have had in common with these little animalitos while she was growing up, and what they might tell us about who she was and who she came to be, and what role her beautiful animals ended up having in her life. So let me share the story of Frida and her animalitos. This is the story of a little girl named Frida who grew up to be one of the most famous painters of all time. Frida was special. This is also the story of two monkeys, a parrot, three dogs, two turkeys, an eagle, a black cat, and a fawn. They were Frida's pets, and they were special too.
Let's think of a thinking question. Frida Kahlo had all kinds of animals. What connections can you make to her animals? You can use a sentence stem. My connection to Frida Kahlo's animals is blank. Miss Wilson is going to give you 10 seconds. If you would like more time, please pause the video to think out your answer. Back to me. Miss Wilson is thinking, my connection to Frida Kahlo's animals is that I have a chihuahua at home named Little Bit.
Frida had a parrot named Bonito. Like her parrot, Frida was colorful. She liked to wear bold shades that celebrated indigenous Mexico and her own heritage. She lived in a house the color of a parrot's bright blue feather, La Casa Azul, where she grew up with her mom, dad, and sisters. Frida had a pet fawn named Granicio. Like her fawn, Frida had watchful, beautiful eyes, and when Frida closed her eyes, she remembered her life as a little girl. Here we see Frida's fawn. Frida was always with her father, a photographer who taught her to look at the world through curious eyes. Frida and her father would walk to the park to collect bugs to look at under a microscope. Frida's father also taught her to put paint finishing touches on his photographs. Frida loved the small brushes and the beautiful colors. Frida had a cat with black shiny fur, the same color as her long dark hair. Like a cat, Frida was playful, but as a child, Frida couldn't always play. When Frida was 6, she got very sick. She was in bed for a long time, but little Frida didn't get sad or bored. Instead, she used her breath to make a mist on her window. And then she drew a door with her finger. Frida used her big imagination and curious eyes to walk out the door with a magic friend, a little girl who danced and played like a kitten.
What would you draw on the window and make come to life with your imagination? Use the sentence stem, I would draw blank because blank. Ms. Wilson is going to give you 10 seconds to think about your answer. If you need more time than that, please pause the video. Back to me. I would draw monkeys because they are my favorite animals. Let's see what happens next.
Frida was independent, like a cat. Frida's sickness left one of her legs different from the other, and children made fun of her. But this didn't stop Frida from skating and riding bikes and rowing on the lakes of Chapultepec Park so that her leg could get stronger. Frida was not afraid to do things other little girls didn't usually do. She wore overalls and boxed and wrestled. Frida had 2 spider monkeys, Pulangchang and Caimito de Guayabal. Like her monkeys, Frida could be mischievous, even when she was a teenager. When Frida was 15, she went to a school called the Preparatoria and found a group of friends ones she loved. Like Frida, her friends were curious to learn all they could. Together they read and studied and argued and sometimes got in trouble. Wearing matching caps, they rode donkeys through the hall of the Preparatoria and set off fireworks. Frida had an eagle named Gertrudis. Like her eagle, Frida's imagination could fly high. When Frida was 18, she was in a terrible accident. And once again, she had to be in bed for many months. This time, Frida didn't create a magic friend. She created art. Frida's mother made her a special easel and hung a mirror over her canopy bed so Frida could paint. Frida used her imagination and curious eyes to do just that. Pete, what do I need you for when I have wings to fly? And if those weren't enough pets, Frida had 2 turkeys and 3 dogs. Señor Choloto, Señorita Capulina, and Señora Costi. Those were the names of her 3 dogs. Frida's turkeys were intelligent and sensitive, just like her. And like Frida, her dogs were warm and loving. When she was lonely or sad, she could wrap her arms around them and they would comfort her. Her Cholo dogs were the same breed that ran and hunted with the Aztecs thousands of years ago, and a reflection of Frida's heritage of which she was very proud. Frida's dogs had no hair, but their bodies were warm, and Frida gave them great big hugs whenever she felt lonely or sad. Frida's animalitos were spirited and entertaining, just like Frida. When her 2 spider monkeys were being good, Frida would hold them like babies. When they were being mischievous, they would steal socks and fruit and leap through windows so that no one could catch them. Her parrot named Bonito liked to snuggle under the covers while Frida took naps and would do tricks at the dinner table, her pats of butter. Frida's animalitos played all day in the courtyard at La Casa Azul, the bright blue house on Londres Street. Her husband, Diego Rivera, even made the animals a pyramid to climb on so that her pets could roam freely. Did you know that you could visit the Casa Azul in Mexico still? It's in Coyoacán, outside of Mexico City. I like this painting because Frida is in front of us and we're looking at her back, which is an unusual perspective that John, the artist, gave us. Frida painted and her pets would keep her company, and Frida painted all the time. When the birds sang, the dogs barked, and the turkeys danced in the garden. Frida's animals were her children, her friends, and her inspiration. Frida painted when she was sick and hurting, and Frida painted when she was happy. She also painted when Diego was gone and she was sad. But Frida was never really alone at La Casa Azul, the bright blue house on Londres Street. She had her animalitos and herself, and she painted both. Wouldn't it be a wonderful idea, students and children and parents, if you all tried doing a self-portrait yourself and tried painting? And maybe you could include your pets in your portraits, your real ones, or maybe imaginary ones if you like butterflies, or dinosaurs, or bears, or monkeys like Frida's Oolong Chung. Frida painted herself with Fulang Chang playing with ribbons. She painted herself with Bonito, the parrot, and Senor Xolotl, the dog. She painted her black cat too, peeking over her shoulder. This is one of my favorite paintings, and it is in my living room, and I get a look at it every day thanks to my friend John Cara, the artist. Frida painted herself with all the pets she loved so much, and even butterflies and caterpillars. Her paintings were magic. Today, if you visit Casa Azul in Coyoacan, just outside of Mexico City, you might hear the sound of a bird or see a black cat jump from the pyramid that sits in the courtyard of the bright blue house on Londres Street, where Frida and her animalitos lived so many years ago. Thank you for listening to my story about the amazing Frida Kahlo.
What materials will you need today? You will need a piece of paper, a pencil, and something to color with. Ms. Wilson is going to give you 10 seconds to get those materials. If you need more time than that, please pause the video. Back to me. Who's ready to create? During this part of the video, you need to follow directions, pause the video if you need more time, try your best, color from corner to corner, and add details. Let's have some fun. All right, Miss Wilson will be drawing in crayon today, just so that you could see the lines a little bit better. But I would like you to use pencil. First, I'm going to do a T across the page. This will help us keep our drawing in proportion. Just one horizontal and one vertical line just in the very middle of your paper. You can't see it on the screen. You want it to be that light so that you know where you are drawing. We're going to start with a U. Large U. And then from the tops of the U, you're going to curve up to the center line to create Frida Kahlo's hairline. Then you're going to do a C and a backward C right below. And you are going to curve her hair from the bottom of her ear up above her to the edge. This will be like her hair is up in a bun. Next, we're going to do the eyes. You're going to go a little bit farther down because she does have a large hairline with a rainbow line on each side and a U. And then we're going to do a circle in her eye. Really, it's a cross between a circle and a U that doesn't quite close because the part of it is her eye up here. And of course, we need the black pupil in the middle. For her nose, we are going to do an L. It is kind of a curvy L. Curve it around. And then a C on the right side to give that definition of the nose. And her lips are not extremely feminine. She barely smiles in her self-portraits. So you're going to do an M right at this cross, but it's not excessively M-like, just a barely having any amount of curve to it and just across, so that she's not smiling, but she's not like angry or anything. And then we're going to do 2 lines down, curving out for the shoulder. And on that, from the shoulder down, we're going to go across. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, almost making an X, but we're going to stop at the line. This is a shawl. So she was known for wearing traditional Mexican outfits, even though that was not the most popular thing to wear. She wore it anyway. Now we are going to do a U of circles for a necklace. And the final piece, well, the second to last piece, is her flower crown. She's known for her crown of flowers. If you want to do something simple, you could do just circles or half circles all the way across, or you can get more creative, do some different kinds of flowers, some carnations, some daisies. Just some different kinds of flowers across her head. It just depends on what the look you're wanting and your comfortability level on your flowers. As long as you have flowers all the way across for her flower crown, you're good to go. And then my favorite part, Frida Kahlo did not accept beauty by the standards of the day that she lived. She thought that every woman was beautiful. So she would often put things that were considered unpretty into her art, especially on herself. So she would draw herself with a mustache, or she would draw herself with a unibrow, which means one eyebrow. So we are going to include that one eyebrow. So I'm just going to do my U, kind of the M, like we do for the lips, and then do it again above it, and then circle around for her unibrow. Now for the background, I'm going to show you some of her actual self-portrait so that you get an idea of what kind of background you might want to choose for your portrait of Frida Kahlo. So here are some of her self-portraits. You actually have a picture of her painting her own self-portrait, different backgrounds, the leaves, her animal friends, and it would change depending on her mood. So in this one, she was sad and she felt like her heart had been ripped out, or her soul. And so that's why you see the blood and the different hearts. Self-portraits change depending on what mood you're in and what you're feeling. So there's several different styles. Awesome job, scholars. We have sorry, I'm trying to get it all in frame. Details, our corner to corner coloring, our artist who is a big impact on the Hispanic heritage, Frida Kahlo. Let's look at some reminders. All right, scholars, it's time for you to finish your work independently. But first, a couple of reminders. If you really like this piece of art, please take good care of it. When we get back to see each other in person, bring it to me and we'll store it in your portfolio. We can't do that if it has creases or is damaged. Another tip would be to take a picture. If we end up doing a virtual um, art show this year, or to put into your portfolio, that would really help. Today's lesson is to help us get back into the routine of art while having a little bit of fun. You do not have to send your work to me, but I would love to see it. I have my email address on the screen for you. And of course, most of all, stay safe, wash your hands. I miss you.